Progress.
All right. I'm going to call the Village of Cottage Grove Library Board meeting to order. It is 6 o'clock on Wednesday, January 15th, 2025. The meeting is hybrid, both virtual and in person at Village Hall. We do have a quorum with one of our members online, and the agenda was properly posted, so this is now the public appearances, public opportunity to speak about any subject that is not a specific agenda item. That's you, yeah. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No one from the public, so we will move on to item 4, discuss and consider the minutes from the December 18th, 2024 Library Board meeting. The minutes are linked in the agenda.
I move to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
There's a motion by Eric and a second by Megan. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Number 5, we have no presentations to the library board. 6, old business, we have none. 7, new business, a discuss capital campaign overview with the village finance director, which is Mr. Cameron Sawyer.
Hi, thank you, Cindy, for having me here tonight. Cindy and I have been working pretty closely together with Jody, kind of talking about the internal structure and how capital campaign dollars would flow through the existing village, financial software and reporting. We kind of, through our discussion, had decided that it made the most sense to get a segregated library capital campaign account. So every dollar of that activity will flow independently of any village asset. So that account is actually a library board account. That being said, instead of having the village board president as an authorized signer, the library board president, so whoever that is at any point in time, would be an authorized signer of the account. So in this instance, the finance or the treasurer is myself, and then Cindy is an authorized signer of the account. So the plan would be kind of going forward, presenting an update of what the status is of that account. What the detail is kind of whatever the library board would like. I think, obviously to make sure that we're, some people may not want it's just to be called out at a specific meeting, a silent donation. Again, we obviously have to follow all open records requests, but my intention would just be to provide Cindy with a dollar update on a monthly basis. So if we were meeting today, it would be the status of what the balance was as of December 31st, 2024. And then kind of that cadence would continue going forward.
I would say that the capital campaign is planning on kind of launching the silent phase starting, later this week, which tomorrow, I suppose. And so the campaign leadership teams have been meeting and have established some kind of internal goals. And eventually there'll be a more public, outward-facing external goal.
Yep. And so kind of when we're talking about roles and responsibilities, so my role is essentially, we're ready to go. On our side, so once the campaign leadership team and everything is rolled out, we have the infrastructure in place.
And then part of it is pledge forms and also working with, I guess, the Friends of the Cottage Grove group too. So any anonymous donations can be pledged to the Friends, and the Friends will pledge on behalf of anonymous donors. And then the village is going to track all of the pledges, and they're all contingent on a passing referendum on April 1st.
I have nothing else to add to that regard.
Does anyone have any questions, comments?
Are those pledge forms available now? Are they going to be available somewhere?
Yes, all of the forms have been finalized and approved and printed. So, Cameron always has access to if anyone wants to come in and initiate something without going through campaign leadership, they can come to Village Hall. Thanks, Cameron. Number 7B, discuss social media marketing and engagement. This was a agenda item that came up from our last meeting, and Tracy, I think, is going to speak to that.
Okay, so thank you, JP, for providing instructions on how to pull a comprehensive report. So I have on my computer a list of all of the advertisements that we spent money on in 2024, just to kind of give you a high-level overview. And if you would like this document, I can provide that after this meeting as well. So in total, we spent $1,992.34 on ads in 2024. A large chunk of that, as I reported, was a mistake that I made when I set up to sponsor an event on a daily payment instead of the totality. I've reported that, and Cindy and I since came up with a policy to ensure that that doesn't happen again. So the amounts spent range from $100 down to $15. With $100 spent on an ad, we had 1,282 post engagements and 11,175 people were reached. And then when you go down to the lower end, when I spent $15, we had, it resulted in 21 people engaging with the post, and it reached 613. So all of the other sponsorships kind of fall between those two ranges. Would you like me to provide any more detail about what this report shows, JP?
Just out of curiosity, the event that had the lowest one, which one was that? Because I'm guessing it's also going to be event-driven to put all this into context.
Yeah, so the $15 sponsorship was for Grillin' in the Grove, and that resulted in 21 people saying that they were going to attend the event. And the high event, where we spent $100 on social media, ad was to sponsor the newsletter sign up when we first launched the newsletter last year. So I think that was money well spent.
Yep.
Can you just remind the board how this is going to change this year?
Yes, so we will not be sponsoring events individually. What I will do is at the beginning of every month when the newsletter gets sent out, I will create a post that lists every single event that's coming up in that month, and I will put $30 behind it. So I did that in January. I'll do that again the 1st of February, and maybe at the next meeting I can let you know what those numbers look like, and we can compare this to a per event sponsor basis. But that's our strategy going forward. So we'll be spending quite a bit less money than that we can put back into the physical programming.
Great. Well, thanks, Tracy. I really do appreciate you taking the time to kind of go through and pull that out. Again, the whole part of the reason why I wanted to do this exercise was to ensure that we're directing funds in the appropriate manner, and given the change and seeing the engagement in there, I feel like we definitely are utilizing it in a way to really kind of broaden that scope. And yes, now we're in a different spot, especially with the newsletter sign up and our engagements and the attendance and events, and even if some are posts without kind of sponsoring it behind, we're definitely seeing that increase in engagement in there. So again, thank you for going through all that.
And then do you just want to touch too on the other methods of marketing engagements aside from social media, which I've decided to quit? So.
I was just thinking about that when JP was speaking. I think one of the big accomplishments of last year was getting a spot in all of the school newsletters. So going forward, as of I think last October, all of the programs that are happening in schools and on no school days will be in the appropriate school newsletters. And they've also shared some other events that don't meet that criteria, but specifically provide enrichment opportunities for their kids. We are in the Parks biweekly activity blast. Probably everybody here receives that. It's a 2-pager. Parks is on the first page. We're on the second page. So I update that every 2 weeks and give that to Trista. We will be in the Parks spring programming guide. That is due next Tuesday. So that was kind of my hard deadline to have programs figured out. We, of course, in addition to the ads, we, of course, share in the Grove, moms and dads, get out the vote if it's relevant to that particular event. We have plenty of posters and promotional materials that I put around town when applicable. This, for example, is to promote the night hike coming up on February 1st. So I'm going to take these little handouts and give them to kids at story times to get them there. And then finally, you've all seen these before, but this is just going to be the one-page programming guide that lists all programs from February through the end of May. So this is finalized. I'll talk about that in my programming report. I'm going to wait till next week to print it, just in case any details with location or times happen to change. I think that was everything, Cindy? Did I miss any other
Tracy,
promotional
do
opportunities?
they still also go, all of the events get posted or shared in the Herald Independent, correct?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we
There's
were-
another place that,
they monitor that themselves. And
right, and they just
they
share it
pull
there.
it,
Okay.
yeah. I don't think everything is listed, but a lot of the programs for younger kiddos are listed there specifically.
Thank you. I think so. So why don't we just roll right on into your programming reports? We're on record pace here. And you mentioning the night hike has stimulated conversation about the supplies for the night hike, so we'll pull that out of the attic and get that going.
About that. So you all received the programming update in the agenda as of last Wednesday. The past 2 weeks have been pretty heavy with planning, so that is pretty out of date. So I wanted to make sure that all the library board members had the current list of programs from January through May in their entirety. Jennifer, I will make sure that you have a copy of this. I'll email this to you so that you can see it. A few programs that I wanted to take the opportunity to highlight between now and the February board meeting are the following. So next Thursday, we have drop-in tech support at Drumlin Residences. That has been sent to all the seniors that live there, and of course, like all of our programs, is open to the general public. Attendance at that so far, the sign-up is not going so well, and I know that that's a priority of the library board. So if anybody here has seniors in their lives in Cottage Grove that you think might benefit from that, please share that one specifically, so we don't have to cancel.
And have they,
They've shared it.
okay, and I wonder too if like a physical sign-up copy is maybe a better way to go about it.
Could be.
And so maybe like dropping one off.
Yeah, I can do that.
That popped in my head because I think you had messaged me today about it.
And I think also our 2 technicians can also be there during the open spots, so that if somebody's having problems the day of and they happen to be in the lobby of assisted living, they could drop by and chat with them. So yes, please share that one. 2 programs that I would like to highlight are Wolfie and his 2 dads author talk on January 30th and February 6th, Crafting for Tweens with Curious Crafters. Those are both at the Glacial Drumlin School Library, and that will be our first time utilizing the middle school space. So I wanted to let you know that we're making an effort to make sure that we're doing programming and reaching all ages in Cottage Grove. Of course, we just talked about the candlelight night hike, and it sounds like we are going to coordinate about specifically setting that up. I'm going to make a little scavenger hunt so that the kids can, as they're going through the woods, they can look for something. Haven't quite figured that out yet, but I'll get there. February 10th, we are having a drop-in game night at the Parks Programming Space. This is important because this was identified on our survey by 2 or 3 residents that they wanted more gaming opportunities. It's going to be very kind of chill for the first time. You can bring a game. We'll provide games. Just sit down and play. We'll have games for all ages. And then on February 13th, we have a Badger Talk coming in at Drumlin Residences. It is about from wood to watercraft dugout canoes in Wisconsin. I know that that was a priority for the library board to have more history-based programs for seniors. And that, I think, gets us through with some of the main programs until the next library board meeting. Any questions?
The candlelight hike, will that be at Norman Vet Park or?
It will be at Governor Taylor Nature Park.
Okay, good to know. Thank
On
So not that
Oak
far from
Street.
you, Eric. You can walk down.
you. Indeed.
And Tracy, the Badger Talks, we're limited to a number 2,
We are limited to 2 per year.
and then also with the
Same with the
Historical
Historical
Society.
Society lecture series. We
Which-
do have one of those in April. He's
Yeah.
going to be talking about how Wisconsin led the charge to ban DDT.
And
That'll be
these
interesting.
talks, so I've been to several of them, are so good.
They
Like,
really
they are like attending a college lecture again, and they are obviously, like, I love that kind of stuff. I think it's just, and they're so well done and so informative, and actually the questions that come out of those talks from the people in the audience are so great to listen to as well. So
Definitely.
I highly recommend attending the Badger Talks.
The Badger Talks are no cost to us, and then the lecture series are just a small stipend to get I've selected people who are authors to get them here to Cottage Grove, and then they're allowed to sell their books as well.
Yeah.
So we have one of each planned, and unless I'm directed otherwise, I'll save the other two for summer or fall.
Fall, probably.
Okay.
All right, any other conversation about programming? All right, moving on to number 9, communications miscellaneous business. We have the consideration of the approval of the vouchers, which are linked in the agenda as well. And since Cameron's here, I don't know if you have anything exciting to say about these. I think they are pretty standard, and they pretty close out 2024.
At this time, the outside of updating the general ledger for the AP that's coming out, which is the 4th attachment, what you're seeing for revenues and expenditures should be the ending balances for the library fund. I think if you're looking at it, the budget to actual, you are going to see that the library fund ran a deficit this year. That was anticipated because there were some carryover funds from last year. So there was about a little over, now I don't know off the top of my head, but a little over 4,000 last year that was carried over. That was again spent down this year. So I think when we looked at it, there's about a little over $1,000 that's going to again be carried over into 2025.
And the carryover was specifically donated funds to the library board, not general funds.
Yeah, grant. Yeah, either a combination
Grants
of
or-
donation,
yeah.
grants. Kind of. Yep.
This is discuss and consider.
I move to approve
The vouchers.
the budget expenses as written. Thank you.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Eric and second by JP. Is there any more discussion? Otherwise, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. We have no committee reports, so except I'll just mention that the facilities committee, because there's nothing to really discuss, as we have kind of completed that work for right now, is gonna kind of not meet until is either asked or until I guess we have most likely after the referendum, either to go in the direction of working on strategic plan objectives or to help with library project. My number 11, library board president's report. The village board approved the referendum question on Monday, and it's been submitted, and so that will be on the April 1st ballot. It's officially submitted.
Didn't I also see, or did that get approved? Because the state has to kind of do the final, was DOR has to do that approval?
Yep. I sent a message to Cindy confirming that it's passed both DOR and final legal review as written.
Yes. I mean, I guess, the architect and engineering is complete at this point too, and so Miller Communications is kind of initiating their phase 2 of the work that needs to happen, and that's just communicating referendum information to the public, and I think a press release will come out by the end of the week announcing the referendum question, and then I'm sure there will be a lot more communication coming out from that. And the library project page on the village website is the best place to get information.
I guess I can
you
confirm
wanna-
a formal press release will be released tomorrow.
Okay.
So Miller Communication has been working on it the last couple of days, and it will be out.
The Friends reports, The Friends had a meeting last night, and they sent me a document today. So they are announcing a formal pledge, and then also the transfer of the library land to the library board. I think we have maybe some details moved up, or to work about language, but the land is, if a building is not constructed on the Friends land, they will be turning the land over for the use of any proceeds associated with that land going to supporting the library project. So those are the two main takeaways. Megan, do you want to add? I don't mean to put you on the spot. Do you want to add anything about that document?
Yeah, I read the document too, and they make a financial pledge that's staggered out over the course of the year. Obviously, it's just like all of the other pledges to the capital campaign, in that it's contingent on the referendum passing. And I think they're just excited to have some concrete information ready to go and to be able to move forward.
So that information will also be given to legacy donors associated with the capital campaign that have been identified as donors kind of back in 2006 through 2008. And so they'll be contacted with that information as well, personally contacted. Right. We do have our next library board meeting on Wednesday, February 19th at 6 p.m. here, both in person and on Zoom, virtual. Otherwise, are there any other agenda items that anyone can think of right now? Otherwise, you're more than welcome to email. We'll most likely have maybe a capital campaign update at the next meeting. Otherwise, number 15, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by JP, second by Megan, non-debatable. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.